Life in La Plata County in the 1920s and 1930s was full of cowboys and rodeoing, but it's the life of one local cowgirl that captured the hearts of residents near and far after a tragic rodeo accident. Reva Fern Cordell was born in Cortez in 1904 to Sig and Bertha Cordell.
She was born back in 1904, and she was born in Cortez, but right after that, her dad bought a ranch over on what they call the Spring Gulch, which is County Road 240, the road between Viceta and Lemon. He owned 620 acres there.
Susan Tillotson spent years researching Reva and her story.
And her dad referred to her as the best cow punch and rider on the place. She liked to challenge the boys to horse racing, and she liked to practice her trick riding, which was one of the things she was famous for, was standing in the saddle of her horse in a full run.
In the 1920s, Reva met and married Reva Grey, another rodeo rider.
She was well known for standing in the saddle while the horse was running, and Cy knew how to throw a rope. And so one of the things that they would do is, as she ran right towards him on the saddle, he would make a loop and capture her. He would catch her at a dead run. And then another thing, he knew how to do the bullwhip. And so she would have a cigarette in her hand, he'd flip it out of her hand. Or he would roll a newspaper or something in her mouth, and he would cut it right while she was holding it in her teeth. He would slice it in half, cut it right out of her mouth while she was holding it.
Cy and Reva made their mark on the rodeo world, including the daddy of them all, Cheyenne Frontier Days. Reva always participated in the Denver Post Relay, winning the coveted cup in 1933, 1934, and 1936. In 1938, Reva and Cy returned to Cheyenne Frontier Days, competing in several events. At the end of a hot August day, tragedy struck.
Well, Reva was 33 at the time, and there was 18,000 people in the grandstand to watch that race. And when she made a turn, her horse bumped a horse next to her and stumbled. And both horses went down. Both women were thrown. Both women were trampled, and the horse fell on both women. And the other woman, she survived, but Reva died the next day of her internal injuries.
Since Reva was well known, her funeral was a highly attended event covered by national media outlets.
At that time, she was well known in the nation as a champion, and so the Associated Press was there, which meant the New York Times and the LA Times were both there. All of her, it was right after everybody had met in Wyoming and so they came on down. There was a lot of her rodeo friends and colleagues and all that. It was a big funeral. And she was dressed in her, what they would call costume, her rodeo costume. So she was dressed in her Levi's and one of her Western shirts. Reva was known for her big 10-gallon white hat. And so as the procession went down the street, her horse was behind the hearse, and it had her big 10-gallon hat on the saddle and her boots headed backwards in the stirrups. And then for the music there, they had a young cowboy band playing, and they played her favorite song, Home on the Range, and then they followed with Empty Saddles.
Empty saddles in the old